Hi, this is Kelsey. I'm going to do a quick video guide to Demacia Cup, and by video guide I don't mean super in-depth or anything. I'm literally going to first of all show you how to use the Chinese stream, just because I think it would be nice to have this kind of thing on hand. Explain to you a little bit of overview on the tournament and some of the times, and then also discuss Qiao, which is an LSPL team that will be there. And I'm not going to go super in depth into Qiao because I don't know as much about them as people who have been watching their games all spring. I've been watching them kind of on and off and taking a few cues, and I know some of the history of the players, so that's what I'm going to do with that. First of all, the thing that most people will probably care about is how to watch the stream. Where do we go? There's not going to be an English broadcast that's official or anything, but there will be a Chinese broadcast. And I'm going to first of all put the website link into the video description so that you guys can access that. And then second of all, you're going to navigate to this page, which will show up on screen here. And then once you get to this page, you'll scroll down to where they have the stream. Now, right here you see the QT stream. The weird thing is, for the quarterfinals, is that there will be showing two matches simultaneously in the quarterfinals. So first it will be Starhorn Royal Club versus WE and Edward Gaming versus M3 at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. I can quickly look at the schedule and correct myself if I'm wrong. And then after that they'll show two more, the other two. No, I think it's LGD versus Invictus Gaming and EDG versus Master 3. Yeah, that's right. I was really upset by that because both of those will be really good. But you can watch them both at the same time. You can duplicate this link and then open another screen. And then just have them if you have double monitors or whatever. But you'll want to go to this tab because QT will only have the option of allowing you to watch one of the videos. So you go to this tab first, and it'll change, it'll start loading. And this will be the first stream, and this will be the second stream. And it's really simple, and it'll just be the Tencent broadcast, and it'll load. I'm going to go back to QT because I have the sound muted, and it'll be less obnoxious. Anyway, so, schedule for this weekend. We're going to have the matches take place starting on March 27th, China time, at noon, it looks like. So, that is exactly midnight Eastern. So if you're on the eastern side of the states, then that's the time you want to tune in. And they'll have the Invictus Gaming versus LGD match first, and the Edward Gaming versus Master 3 at the same time. And then a little bit later at 17:30 China time, they'll have WE versus Starhorn Royal Club, and Snake versus Qiao. That's, woo! Okay. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about in terms of that, and I'm going to go back to, and then, the next day they'll have the semifinals and the finals. And you can find the schedule for the matches on the Score app if you have one of those, or you can go to East Westpedia, and I'll put a link to that as well in the video description. So I wanted to talk next about Qiao, because I figured that's the team that people will know the least about, because the rest are all LPL teams. So there will be 7 LPL teams involved and one LSPL team in the round of 8. And the reason why this happened is because Qiao took out OMG in the round of 16. And this surprised, I think, a lot of people, but if you watch the games it becomes less surprising, or if you know a lot about how OMG has been performing lately in terms of running these really weird compositions, these really weird pick bands. According to an interview with UCI, their coach is telling them to actively play things that they're bad at. In the Qiao games, they used Law for, I think, 3 or 2. I can't remember how many were Law and how many were Cloud, but it was a mix of 2, 3. They were subbing around supports. They let Vigar open on patch 5.2, and they picked Twisted Fate into Vigar support, which Cool has now done multiple times this play, and don't get me started on that. But the real story here is the fact that they were an extremely aggressive, hard and fast team, and they just kind of strangled OMG out of 3 games and made it to the Demacia Cup final. So that's not to take too much away from them. But if there's probably any top team that any team could be at this time, it's OMG. Now, a little bit of background on Qiao. Right now, they're in the LSPL. They placed first in their group. The LSPL is structured like the old OGN tournament, where they have the four. They have the round of 16, 4 groups of 4, and from there it breaks off into a quarterfinal, into a bracket, and they do best of 3s so far. I think probably advancing will be best of 5s, but it's a double elimination, so maybe not best of 5s until the finals. I'm not completely clear on that. I will get a little bit more into LSPL probably in another video, because if you want to watch the LSPL playoffs that just started, that's a little bit different. Now, Qiao, there are current favorites to take first place in the LSPL playoff tournament, which means they'd be auto-promoted to LPL. So this won't be the last you'll see of them if you're an LPL fan and you only watch LPL. But that being said, they could still play second and be auto-promoted, or through 6th place promotion. So there's a really good chance that we'll see them again, and again, I'll get into more details. First of all, background on the team. Last year, Vici Gaming and SPG organizations were merged for a little while. They had 2 teams in LSPL, Vici Gaming S and Vici Gaming P. Very creative naming. I kind of felt like when the team split, SPG got all the talent, and then so we have Qiao and SPG with a lot of the really talented players from LSPL, like Cherish, the mid laner, 300, the support player, V, the top laner, is in Qiao, is the first one we'll talk about. When we talk about top laners in LSPL, last summer was kind of the top laner renaissance, I felt, and last spring they had a lot of good mid laners, so like, we had Xia, Janka, and Cherish, and then in the summer we had V, Carry, Flandra. I'm not going to go over the list of all the top laners who advanced to LPL from LSPL. But pretty much all the teams with really good top laners got into LPL in the promotion. And V was kind of on that level, but not quite. They did end up surprising a lot of people. I think they took out Young Glory. But they didn't make it in. So Qiao forms with V once the organization split back apart, SPG and Vici Gaming. They form with V in the top lane, they pick up Swift, and a lot of people are probably more familiar with Swift than anyone else on this roster. He used to be on CJ Frost, was a really promising jungler. A lot of people said that maybe he was the 3rd best jungler in the world. They kind of said Dandy, Cacao, maybe Spirit or Swift, depending on flavor of the month, whichever one you like better. Most people, I think, said Swift was a little bit better than Spirit at the time. But he kind of joined forces with Hero, who was the ex-WE coach, and I'm not going to get into too many details with how he left WE, because I feel, not knowing 100%, no need to just drag his name through the mud, but he parted ways with the WE organization somewhat amicably, and he joined forces with Swift and pretty much said that any team that wants Swift will have to pick him up as coach. So Qiao takes Swift and takes Hero's coach. And Swift has been tearing up LSPL in a way that's very similar to how Spirit has been just kind of destroying jungles in LPL, except that his teammates relatively are pretty decent. Their mid lane is new, Doinb. They used to have, I probably just butchered his name, I have no idea. It's Doinb. And he's very new. I think his first set was probably the Demacia Cup round of 16 games against OMG. But he looks pretty good. They used to have a Korean mid laner, Borisal. I'm not sure if Doinb is Korean or Chinese. I haven't really looked or seen a picture of him. Now, the bottom lane. Their AD carry, and this goes back to, I think, SPG got all of the good talent. Their AD carry is TNT. And if you watched LMQ in China before they went to North America, you will know that he was the AD carry for LMQ at that time. And at this time, pretty much everyone said that almost any player on that roster is trash, except for TNT. Who's that? Went by Fish, went by Quiet, went by Ash. This guy, people complain about Loveling changing his name. This player has changed his name more times than any other player I know. So I'm just going to call him TNT for the rest of the video. But a little bit more details on TNT. When Starhorn Royal Club, or as they were called at the time, Royal Club, lost half of their roster, more than half of their roster at the end of the 2013 World Championship, they decided to move UZI to mid lane, and a lot of people were really confused about that, but the reason why they wanted to move UZI to the mid lane was because this guy, Quiet or Fish, was going to be joining as the AD carry in the bottom lane, and he was considered really, really talented, and they thought, okay, the best bet, UZI maybe wants to role swap, he can be really mechanically gifted and good in other roles. Quiet is a really, really solid AD carry, so you have to think, they were willing to move UZI from the AD carry role to mid lane, away from it to mid lane, just to have this guy. So that should speak really highly of kind of the perception of him. That said, I have no idea. There might be something wrong with his personality or something, because he's been benched several times. He's been kind of floating around LSPL on the Vici gaming organizations. But he's been doing really well in Xiaogu. Their support player you probably also know, if you're North American LCS fans or LMQ fans, Moore, now known as TCT. Moore is, well, he's Moore. He was on the LMQ roster before in China, so he has played with Quiet, and this bottom line looks really, really strong. Right now, they were also a really strong point against OMG. They did well even against UZI and Cloud. So this team has a lot of talent on it. I would say down the line they look really good. I don't think strategically they're a very developed team. They make a lot of weird mistakes. They're kind of all over the place. They're very LSPL. And what I mean by that is LSPL is very much about win lane, win game, and that's always been kind of my criticism of Qiao, is that he hasn't really had that time to develop. You have to think that with some of the experience of these players, they develop strategy very quickly in an environment if they needed to, because right now they just kind of brute force games in the LSPL environment and win. They can brute force games against OMG. So because of that, I kind of don't expect them to do that well. Their first round opponents are Snake. Snake is very solid in what they do. Snake has a lot of weaknesses, but most of their weaknesses are based on people sort of testing their strategy, testing the limits, doing lane swaps on them. They don't do super well in lane swaps because they just sacrifice Flandra to such a great extent. I will get into more of that in my Snake video, which hopefully will come out by the end of the week. Anyway, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the Demacia Cup. Again, link to the website is in the video description. I will be on Twitter, whatever else. Or anything, but there will be a Chinese broadcast. And I'm going to first of all put the website link into the video description so that you guys can access that. And then second of all, you're going to navigate to this page, which will show up on screen here. And then once you get to this page, you'll scroll down to where the ring. I've been watching them kind of on and off and taking a few cues, and I know some of the history of the players, so that's what I'm going to do with that. First of all, the thing that most people will probably care about is how to watch the stream, where do we go. There's not going to be an English broadcast that's official of overview on the tournament and some of the times. And then also discuss Qiao, which is an LSPL team that will be there. And I'm not going to go super in depth into Qiao because I don't know as much about them as people who have been watching their games all. They have the stream. Now, right here you see the QT stream. The weird thing is for the quarterfinals is that they will be showing 2 matches simultaneously in the quarterfinals. So first it will be Starhorn Royal Club versus WE and Edward. Hi, this is Kelsey. I'm going to do a quick video guide to Demacia Cup, and by video guide I don't mean super in-depth or anything. I'm literally going to first of all show you how to use the Chinese stream, just because I think it would be nice to have this kind of thing on hand. Explain to you a little bit